huge. They went on that run, and we saw Shake Milton hit that three at the buzzer. Hey, Smitty, coming in you first. Obviously, we know that the haymakers were thrown early. The Sixers got out the gate. The Hawks got back into it, and the Sixers responded in a major way in the third quarter.
They did, Ro. I mean, Earl, it was 32-0, I think, bench points going into halftime. And then Shake Milton, one shot can get you going. And I know he has been struggling, but he has scores mentality. Not afraid, came out knocking down shots. But this was established by Joel Embiid. Obviously, they need that bench, but that one shot right there got him going. Dwight Howard, give him a lot of credit, playing well, good minutes behind. They just came out and they executed. I think for them, it was defensively, they made Trae Young work. Even though he got his points, I think it was hard, it was tough. Another ball handler for the Hawks would be helpful, somebody else that can make another play, but there's just no answer for Joel Embiid when he wants to play like this.
No answer, and you spoke about that earlier in the pregame, making Trae have to work a little bit harder for him. Not necessarily in the fourth quarter, but you want to hit him a little bit earlier so it affects him later on in the game.
I think they did a great job of putting different guys on him and wearing him down and using their size and their wingspan. But credit to Shake Milton. I've been in that situation where you're a young guy trying to get into rotation, and you have to mentally stay prepared. That means you have to be positive about no matter what your minutes are, you're positive, you're working hard, you're getting extra shots, you stand after calling coaches late at night, and you get that opportunity, you seize the moment. And my question is this, Smitty, to you. If I'm Doc Rivers, I'm asking, is that sustainable? I'm not sure if it's sustainable over 7 games. So if you're Atlanta Hawks, you're in a locker room, you're saying, hey, they had a guy come out, he played at a very high level. We have more guys off our bench that can do that every game this series. Let's go back home and get ready for another opportunity to get a W.
Yeah, if you're Atlanta, I'm with Earl. I mean, your goal is to get one. You get greedy and you try to get 2. But Shake doesn't have this type of quarter or this run. It's a closer game. You never know what happens. So if you're Nate McMillan, you're extremely happy. We had no rhythm in this game, but we fought back. They played like a veteran team. We lost this game, but we were never rattled. We stayed into it. We took Shake Milton's run. We took a 40-piece from Joel Embiid, and yes, it was lopsided, but I never thought they just didn't have what it took to win this game. They just ran into some guys that had hot nights, and that was a desperate game for Philadelphia 76ers. Do you know I would love to read the papers next day if Philly lost that one? It's been Doc's fault, Ben Simmons' fault, Joel Embiid's fault. It's been everybody's fault.
The blame pie would have been handed out. And just for the record, the Hawks did have a 1-point lead in the third quarter. And at that point, that's when the run started happening. Shake started hitting buckets, 14 points for him, 5 threes in this one. He was impressive, but you spoke about Joel Embiid. We saw that he was still a game-time decision. We still don't know how that knee's feeling. But, I mean, hey, just looking at him, it doesn't seem like anything is wrong with the knee dropping 40 in this one.
Well, we know, obviously, I think he has a slight tear in meniscus. But he looked good. This is how good he is. I mean, being able to, at all 3 levels, just dominate. I mean, he's giving you dream shake. He's giving you Shaq power-like. And then, obviously, he has a little Derek Coleman in his game. But what I love about him, he's been working on his game. You can feel he has moves that look as smooth as guards. And this is what I love about him, these extra effort plays. We didn't see this a lot, young in his career. We've always knew the talent. This right here, that knee looks good to me to be able to do that. That is something, my knee hurt watching that one, but I give Joel Embiid a lot of credit. Earl, this right here is unfair when a guy can do this. Even at a closeout, he's comfortable with a closeout and shooting over the top. It's not like a wide open 3 for a 5. These are contested shots, and his pump fake is one of the best. I mean, he shows it, and guys go for it.
He plays at his rhythm, and he plays at peace, and he's so skilled. It's almost you don't want to tell him not to shoot the threes or play on the perimeter, but I would give him 90-10. I would say 90% of the time you got to get a piece of the paint. 10% of the time you can do what you want with your rhythm moves on the perimeter or even shoot threes. And if he gets to that paint 95% of the time, most likely that allow the guards like Tobias Harris to get to the free throw line quicker and easier, and they control the pace of this game because you're playing a skilled, energetic Hawks team. And it's hard to be skilled with energy, but they're so youthful. They have so much energy. You have to have spurts of energy off that bench or throughout the game for Philadelphia 76ers in order to compete. And Joel Embiid, when he gets into that paint, the crowd goes crazy. His teammates get energized, and they start to control the game.
Yeah, you talk about those points in the paint. Philadelphia won that battle 52-44 as far as points in the paint. And Smitty, you touched on it earlier, talking about the bench points for the Atlanta Hawks. Now, they do lose this game. However, when you have a young team that's still figuring out how to win in the playoffs, when you have multiple players go over 20, you have Huter, who has a playoff career high 20. You have Bogdanovich come in and get some big buckets. He had 10 in the third quarter. Going back home to Atlanta, how are you feeling right now if you're the Hawks?
No, you feel great. I mean, you got a chance to get one. And we talk about bench points. Look at the veteran. Yes, they're a young team, but Gallinari's coming off the bench. Lou Will's coming off the bench. Kevin Huerter's had a phenomenal season. Kevin Huerter had to play a lot of major minutes. There's no DeAndre Hunter, and don't forget Cam Reddish hasn't played pretty much at all in the second half of the season for the Atlanta Hawks. And Kevin Huerter has played stable, sound, and then next thing you know, you have Bogdanovich. It looks like he's made for playoffs. He just needed to get in the playoffs. He wasn't getting a chance to see too many minutes in Sacramento in postseason basketball. They have some confident young guys, John Collins, Capella. They got to figure out a way and also figure out, I think, Earl, are we just going to completely double him? Or we can't, because we can't play one-on-one. And I think that's going to be something that Nate's going to have to really figure out. We're going to put some pressure. To me, I'm doubling him in rotation. I'm closing out really, really slow to Ben Simmons, making him that last guy to get the rotation, forcing the ball to him and after the double team.
For all our League Pass fans, if you were watching Sacramento in the past couple of seasons, Bogdanovich did hit some big buckets in late game situations, so he's ready for that big stage, and we saw him respond today. But, Earl, you touched on it a second ago. You talked about Philadelphia and having this energy, and will it be sustainable going into 2 road games and 2 in Atlanta? Now, Philly's been in these situations before. It's mostly a veteran team. You have a veteran coach and Doc. When they're going into Atlanta, what do you think their mindset's going to be, and how do they approach those games?
First 5 minutes, sustain and control the crowd, because the crowd is going to be into it. You would imagine Trae Young in the first 5 minutes is going to go off. So you have to stay close. Call your timeout, shut the runs, get to the free throw line, throw it into the post, get a piece of the paint, and chop the game down in order to control the pace of the game. And then who is coming off the bench? You're congratulating Shaq Milton, but you're telling everyone to be ready, using an example of how to be ready mentally in a positive state and coming out physically executing the game plan and providing for your team. And then you talk about how can we get Ben Simmons to be more effective throughout the game? Where can we put him to make him more effective offensively to get him going as well? So you have opportunities, but you're coming facing a young team. And Coach Wood used to say this a lot. He would say, don't fall in love with results. Play the right way, play our way. If we win, great. If we lose, we're going to win more than we lose. And I thought the Hawks played their way. Trae didn't have a game where he went off, but we know that is going to be more opportunities for him to go off than less, and he's going to come in that next game and have a lot of fire to his action.
Trae Young, 21 points, 1 for 7 from 3, 6 for 16 from the field. Don't fall in love from the results. I just wrote that one down courtesy of the legendary John Wooden, once his head coach way back when. In the meantime, another head coach who once spent some time in L.A. I just